Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I did a video last week about roading a tractor, driving a tractor on the open road. This is a county road that we live on. It's not traveled very much. Maybe 100 cars a day go by here, maybe less. But what are some considerations when you want to get your tractor out on the open road? Last week, I answered a viewer letter about the possibility of buying a tractor at an auction and driving it home 30 miles. Got a lot of great comments, both pro and con doing that. One person said, what about the tire wear? Have you priced tires lately? Good point. Another person said you're more than likely to get home driving the tractor on the road versus hauling it because the DOT will pull you over if you've got a trailer and give you some kind of citation, whereas if you're in a tractor, you're kind of exempt from that. Well, that's a good point too. And also heard from people that had driven tractors 150 or 200 miles home. The guy that did it 200 miles said never again. So that's a fact of life if you're around agriculture, is operating equipment on the open road or driving equipment on the open road. And in my particular case, this little county road that I live on is down the road from some property that my wife and I bought a few years ago. We want to downsize our house and upsize our barn. I want a barn you can see from the space shuttle and a smaller house, and my wife's on board with that. So we bought some property down the road, 10 acres down there, where we may build someday. And a lot of times I'll get my tractor here out on the open road and drive down there about a half a mile to brush hog or to do other chores down there. And so I'm on the open road. Well, today I'm going to talk about two things that you need to really know and be aware of before you leave driving a tractor down the open road, even for a short distance. Last week, in last week's video, I talked about if you're buying a tractor you don't know, what do you need to look at on the tractor? Today's video is going to be what do you need to think about in preparation for that travel on the open road, whether it be a short distance or a long distance. Number one thing you need to know is what are the laws where you live. And I downloaded off the Missouri Highway Patrol website their laws about driving tractors on the open road. As it turns out, the state of Missouri is pretty lax about allowing farm equipment to operate on the open road. They've got some rules about it, but they don't discourage it because agriculture is really important to the state of Missouri. In fact, in the Highway Patrol verbiage about driving tractors on the open road, they talk about how important agriculture is and how in our state capital there is a statue of Ceres, the goddess of agriculture. I don't know what that has to do with driving a tractor on the open road, but it's in here. But the Highway Patrol goes over some rules, and a lot of these are kind of common sense. And one of them I had no idea about what you should do when you're driving a tractor on the road. And let's go over a few of these. They talk about the dangers of driving on the highway, how tractors are slower than other cars, how you need to allow extra space when you're pulling out and all that stuff. That's kind of common sense. You need to signal when you're turning and all that. The very first one on their list is one I had no idea about, and I bet you if I polled 100 farmers around here, there wouldn't a one of them know this is in the rules. But here it is. Anytime you're driving farm machinery on a highway, it should display a red flag atop a pole 12 to 14 feet high for better visibility when the machine is hidden by a rise or a curve in the roadway. I had never heard that till I downloaded this. And where I live is a prime example. This is a short distance I go down to my other property, but I'm going up and down very steep hills. And the biggest danger is when you get over the top of a hill and start to head down. If a car is cresting that hill and not paying attention, not expecting a tractor to be there, they could cream into you. So that red flag thing is a good idea. I'm going to do that on this tractor. But that's in the rules. Number two, when rounding corners, stay to the right as far as you can. Number three, special precautions should be taken when driving the highway during the morning and evening hours when the sun is low. And this is an east-west road right here, and that's a real problem. Certain times of the year, you're going up a hill and the sun is right above that hill going east that direction. When I used to go to work at sunrise, you'd almost be totally blinded going up a hill. So be cognizant of that. If you're driving your tractor, do it like right now in the midday when the sun's overhead, not late evening or early morning. Good wisdom there. Number 4, and this is to me the most important thing. It's why people hate being behind farm equipment and why there's bad relations between farmers and people that are trying to drive on highways. It says, anytime traffic lines up behind the farm equipment, the driver should pull over and let the traffic pass. Oh, my goodness, yes. Common courtesy to do that. I've followed farm equipment before where they could have gotten over and they didn't. And you know, you can get over in somebody's driveway. You can just pull off the side of the road, let everybody by. If you're on a flat strip of ground and no one's coming, you can just slow down and just kind of wave everybody on. That's common courtesy. Let's try to keep in good relations with the other folks on the road, because we're driving slow, and if you get people lined up to the horizon behind you, they're not going to be happy with you, and they may take really bad chances trying to get around you that puts you and them in danger. So that's number 4. Now, I do want to say one thing. If you're trying to road a tractor a long way, if you can take the back roads, that's generally a better idea. Now, some of these back roads don't have much of a shoulder to get off and out of the way, but they have a lot less traffic. You want to be safe on a tractor, but you also don't want to get in a liability situation. I got a call a few years ago from a lawyer that wanted me to be an expert witness, and I was kind of interested that they got a guy off YouTube as an expert witness for a insurance company that was fighting some kind of a litigation related to a farmer driving farm equipment on an interstate highway. And basically, I think what had happened, the farmer had decided he could take the back roads and go around and get to the other property he was going to, but instead he took a shortcut, went on the interstate highway, and a semi-truck plowed into him. And the people that wanted me to testify were on the semi-truck side, that he shouldn't have been there, and I didn't want to get in the middle of that. But that brings it home that you need to know these laws because of the liability that's created in all of this, which brings me to the number 2 point that I want to talk about, and that is insurance. Are you insured when you drive up and down this road? I never drove on the open road much before we bought that property down the street, and it wasn't too long ago that I found out that if I did drive on this road without special insurance coverage, I had no insurance. I was liable. So I went to my insurance agent and asked them, how do I get a policy that covers me when I'm on the road? Well, they wanted to know the value of the tractors and the years and some things like that, and I submitted that to them. And I think it cost me around $250 a year to get insurance on me, on the tractor, on this road. And $250 a year is not really that bad when you consider the liability that you could run into. So the 2 things you need to know before you get on the open road is, number 1, what are the laws in my state? And number 2, does my insurance coverage cover it? Now, most of us have some kind of a policy that's like a hobby farmer policy. You're not automatically covered under that, and it doesn't cover you from your auto insurance, I don't think. I'm not an expert on insurance, but I think your tractor coverage is going to be on your homeowner's policy, and if you don't ask for it, it may not be there. So find out if you've got insurance. So when it's time to get on the open road, what does that actually look like? What do you need to do to get that tractor on the road and get going? Well, get in the seat, fasten your seat belt. If you got a 4-wheel drive tractor, make sure you're out of 4-wheel drive, because you'll burn up a set of front tires if you're in 4-wheel drive on a long trip. Next thing we want to do is turn our emergency flashers on and our headlights. Make sure people can see us on the open road. I'd have my cell phone with me fully charged. Put her in road gear, open that throttle all the way up and go. Now glance at the temperature gauge once in a while to make sure the tractor's not overheating, but running wide open like that on the open road is not going to hurt your tractor. I've done it a lot of times and never had a single failure from a tractor running at road gear. So open it up, let her rip, get where you're going as quickly as you can. Now there's a little bit of an argument about whether to have a flag vehicle, somebody driving behind you with all their flashing light on in a car, and I have mixed feelings about that. The downside is if you're on a country road It just makes it that much further that people have to go to get around you if they're passing you. If you're on a major highway and there's a shoulder you can pull off and have that flag vehicle there, maybe that's a good idea. But I'm kind of mixed about the flag vehicle. I generally don't have flag vehicles when I've roaded tractors before. And finally today, you want to make sure your tractor has an SMV or slow moving vehicle triangle on the back of it, like this one. And that's to tell other motorists that come up on you that you're driving slow. Now I want to give you one point. If you're hauling that tractor, take that SMV sign off for two reasons. Number one, a lot of times you find them in ditches where they've blown off tractors that were transported on trailers. And number two, once that tractor's on a trailer, it's not a slow-moving vehicle anymore. It's traveling at highway speeds. So you want to take that off when you're transporting the tractor and putting it back on when you're driving on the open road. Appreciate you watching my videos. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd be honored. Click the mic face icon and check the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with unique items for sale for the tractor enthusiast that helps support my YouTube channel. And here's the video I did last week about getting a tractor ready to road. Watch that if you haven't. Thanks for watching.